Wednesday, the 13th of November. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Frontier Opening Bell here on Frontier Africa Report. Again, just as you're looking at the numbers across the Frontier African markets on Tuesday, there was a sea of red, and that came from the global stock market rout yesterday, trying to get a sense of what the new administration of President Donald Trump will be when he takes office in January. Of course, there's been a whole lot about the market rally on the back of that particular comeback of Donald Trump as the president of the United States, and the markets now taking that out and focusing a whole lot more on the US dollar and interest rate direction by the Fed that cut rate by 25 basis points again last Thursday. So the stock market fell sharply across the world on Tuesday, and that affected Nigerian market, the BRVM in Cote d'Ivoire, the EGX 30 in Egypt, the Johannesburg stock market, Zimbabwe stock market fell by more than 1%. The Nairobi stock market, however, eked out 12 basis points on the news of some of the what you call corporate actions by some of the biggest companies on that particular stock market. KenGen is paying 0.65 shillings as final dividend to shareholders. That will be effective. That will be paid on the 12th of December. The closure is already here, so everyone's enthused in that. There's also Kenya Power Holdings also reporting earnings. Then you've got the banking names such as Equity Group talking to its latest earnings. So those numbers and earnings and corporate announcement lifted the NSE market to 115.20 on Tuesday. Let's move on to look at the big stories across the continent as is where, and as always, we look into East and Central Africa. Let's go to get the wider picture. The COP29 week conference organized by the United Nations is in Baku, Azerbaijan. And the big story is about how much multilateral development banks will be delivering on the table moving forward. They issued a joint press statement yesterday from Azerbaijan, the venue of the event, saying they have a new financial measures in support for low-income countries, developing countries, as well as developed countries to meet the carbon emission targets. They're putting hundreds of billions of dollars on the table, and they're splitting this across the various pillars of climate adaptation. And you can read up the details on that. Back in the corporate news on the continent, Equity Group reporting pre-tax profit of around $400 million for the 9 months ended September. Dr. James Mwage, the group CEO, spoke to that to the press, other stakeholders, analysts, and the bank customers in Nairobi on Monday. Tanzania and Norway says they've launched a 9.5 million euros project to boost agriculture, while Uganda's electricity exports grew 57% in the year to date. Tanzania and Amson's groups announced $320 million investment to expand cement output in the East African economy of President Samia Suluhu Hassan. Those are your headlines on the Eastern Coast. Let's move to the West Coast. EFDB announced that is putting $17.97 million behind climate adaptation and insecure and support security efforts in Nigeria's Lake Chad, supporting Chad and Cameroon in that corridor. The UNDP, United Nations Development Program, is also putting together, mobilizing additional $20 million also to support that initiative. Nigeria, however, is looking to revamp that moribund Ascon, the aluminum smelting company of Nigeria in the southern part of the country, doing a $1.2 billion gas deal to get that aluminum smelting company, one of the big white elephant projects in Nigeria, moribund for years and years. It was initially put together during the military regime's time system in Nigeria. Let's move on. The Ghana is yesterday announced the suspension. That's the Bank of Ghana reporting the suspension of the foreign exchange operating license of Consolidated Bank. That's for just 1 month for malpractices within the Ghana system. And Liberia's Port Authority, as well as Massa Mahawk of Morocco have signed a port modernization deal that will support the West African economy of Liberia to get its ports up and running and using technology to get things down there. Got quite some good news. Let's step into Southern Africa. MultiChoice, I'm sure you've grabbed that news by now. Eked out 4% revenue growth for the half year 2024 period. The company also reported a trading profit of 33%. However, The currency devaluation in Nigeria and a few other markets in Nigeria dented the books for MultiChoice by 2.3 billion South African rand. And that's the latest as far as MultiChoice is concerned. But business, according to subscribers base and other things, look good as the company begin to turn around and look at how to remain very competitive in the age of online streaming. South Africa is reporting unemployment data that's below the water, or that's beginning to go lower, and thanks to the new coalition government, what's called the Government of National Unity under President Cyril Ramaphosa. Botswana as vice president, the new vice president will also be holding the office of the finance minister. That's according to news out of Gaborone on Tuesday. And Mozambique's sovereign funds get $134.5 million over the first 9 months of this year. That's January to September. The political crisis following the last election is not over yet. The defeated candidate in that particular election is asking for a blockade of roads leading to the seaports and asking haulage workers to block the roads with their trucks and all of that. The whole crisis around that election being contested still are there for Mozambique, threatening the $20 billion gas project headlined by Total Energies of France. MSC Mediterranean Shipping says it's investing 40 million euros in Namibia by the year 2030 to support the country's emerging hydrocarbon sector. Those are your headlines. Southern part of the continent. Let's take it to the north, where Egypt and Saudi Arabia says they have a trade exchange of about $7.5 billion in the first 9 months of this year, while the country's headline inflation inched up to 26.5% for the month of October. We're expecting Nigeria's inflation data before the end of the week. Some analysts are forecasting Nigeria's inflation will go higher to about 33.7% from 32% in the month of September. Back to in North Africa, Morocco has become the top pepper supplier to Spain. That exports now about $125 million. That's a record figure for Morocco's pepper export to Europe, or to Spain, I beg your pardon. And United Energy Group says it wants new oil exploration zones in Egypt. It's applying for that and trying to ramp up petroleum production in North Africa's biggest economy. And those are your headlines this time. Thank you for watching Frontier Opening Bell. I am Bosun Amafaye. I'll see you soon.